Really here of the kickoff and the score, and this week has been World Cup qualifying week. Yes, World Cup qualifying week has been happening. There's been some matches which have been played in Europe, but let's just concentrate on Africa because 9 teams have qualified for the World Cup, which is slated for next year in Canada, Mexico, and the United States of America. Now, Algeria, Cape Verde, Egypt, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Morocco, Senegal, South Africa, and Tunisia have qualified automatically for the 2026 World Cup in the United States, Mexico, and Canada. Now, there was a 14 playoff involving Nigeria, Cameroon, DRC, and Gabon, which happened last week. Now, in the first game, Nigeria beat Gabon 4-1, and then, of course, the DRC beat Cameroon by 1-0. In the final match, which was played earlier this week on Monday in Rabat, Morocco, the DRC eliminated Nigeria. And from contention, that means now the DRC advances to the Intercontinental Playoff, which will be played next year in March, where they're going to face they'll face Jamaica. Now, should the DRC win that game against Jamaica, they will be the 10th African team in the playoff. Now, the other team which most likely would advance is going to be between Iraq and either New Caledonia or Bolivia. Now, the DRC are seeded higher. They're looking at the seedings to determine who has the advantage in this World Cup playoff, in the Intercontinental Playoff. So if the DRC win their game against Jamaica, they'll become the 10th African team to qualify for the FIFA World Cup, and the first time the DRC is in the World Cup since 1974, when they were formerly known as Zaire, to be at the World Cup. They have not been there for 50 years. So hats off to DRC for winning the African playoff. Now Jamaica await in March next year. In case you're wondering, the World Cup draw will be done on December 5th in Washington D.C. at 8:00 p.m. We already know the identity of the 42 teams out of the 48 teams which are going to be at the World Cup. We already know Africa's representatives. We already know Europe, Asia, Oceania, and the rest of the world. But who are most likely going to become the other 6 contestants? This afternoon, UEFA did a draw for the European side, which I'll not get into now. But since this is the FIFA World Cup week, we already know the 9 African teams which are going to be there. The big question is, can DRC make it a 10th team come next year in June, July? Now remember, the World Cup, this is the first time that the World Cup is having 48 teams. Since 1998, we've had 32 teams. And a lot of people like myself, a lot of football purists are saying that I think the taste of the World Cup is being spoiled when you have 48 teams. Teams like Curacao, Haiti, Panama, and the Cape Verde are going to be making their debuts at the World Cup. I don't see them, honestly, going past the first round. Now, it will be 12 groups of 4 teams at the World Cup. And I think the first round stage will be longer than in previous editions because we've got 16 more teams. Normally, the World Cup takes 1 month, but because of 48 teams, it'll take 5 weeks. So, tell us in your comment section, who do you think are the early favorites to win the World Cup next year? I mean, we've got the big boys like the European champions, Spain. We've got the defending champions, Argentina there. We've got Brazil. We've got France. We've got Germany. We've got England. Are they the favorites for the World Cup? Remember, the World Cup is still 6 or 7 months away. We don't know how their form will change heading into the World Cup. But tell us in the comment section who you think are the favorites to win the World Cup next year in the United States, Mexico, and Canada. And do you think that the DRC can make it a 10th African team to be at the FIFA World Cup next year in the United States, Mexico, and Canada?